What's the most impactful thing I can do to add value to my children's lives now that they're grown up?
Be yourself, your true self, by following the formula. That's what it's for. If you are not being your true self, then who are they in a relationship with? Simple as that. Keep going. Everything will fall into place. Everything that is relevant and important in your life, every appointment you've made, every agreement that you've made will be kept if you just keep moving forward and allow your life to unfold in the perfect timing in which you have designed it.
Allow yourself and your duty as a parent to be clear that the idea that you love them is already clear, but the ideas of how you express the concept of love may need to be brought into alignment. I'm not saying this is the case. I'm just talking generalities. The idea is that children are completely implicitly trusting of the parent, and they receive whatever they receive from the parent as if it were the perfect symbol or representation of the parent's love. Now, if the parent is sending negative ego belief systems down that avenue toward the child, then the child will start to interpret negative belief system ego structures as a symbol of love, and that will be the only symbol the child will know, and the only symbol the child will themselves be able to express in life until they get a handle on how to bring that back into alignment with symbols that are more positively representative of the underlying current of unconditional love that is always there. Does that make sense?
It does.
All right.
Going further, you were talking about children being older souls that are coming here as the teachers.
Yes, especially now in this day and age, many of the children being born on your planet and that have been being born now for about the last 20 years or so are, in a sense, not only a new generation, they are actually a different species. And it is representative of souls that have a lot of experience in many of them, that are cross-connecting to many different experiences in many different parallel realities. And by the genetic alteration that is happening within them as they restructure their embryonic bodies, they are creating a genetic structure that will give rise to a personality structure that will not forget as much of who they are as beings, as whole beings, as spirits.
You are serving in the hybridization agenda by having donated genetic material. You're serving in the hybrid agenda by teaching the hybrid children some of the things they need to know when they come to live among humans on Earth. They are attempting to get your attention to understand the purpose that you are providing for the evolution of humanity in general, though there may be some specific messages from time to time. But they are also sending to us a technique for you that may put you in clearer touch with the communications from the mantis beings, and that is to draw them. And while you are drawing them, consider the drawing of them a type of meditation. And in that meditation, allow yourself to just open up to what you'll receive by looking at the drawing as you're creating it, and even looking at the drawing and meditating on it as you have finished the drawing. That's a technique that can work for you.
I have 3 physical children right now. I know that they are hybridized.
You're all hybridized.
Yes, yeah. And I know they're more advanced, being.
They're just more awake.
More awake. Can you give us some guidelines or coaching on how to coexist with them and how to raise them in alignment where they're at?
Create educational programs that allow for higher degrees of interactivity so that they can actually learn by doing. Create programs where in a safe environment they can understand the consequences of the choices and actions that they take so that they can grow into adulthood knowing that they can only need to take choices and only need to take actions that are representative of their self-empowerment, and they don't need to hurt themselves or anyone else to get what they need. Allow yourselves to adapt the education that they may require to what excites them instead of attempting to adapt their excitement to the lessons that you think they need to learn. If you do even just these 3 things, you will have an educational system that will allow them to really remember who they are and become the adults that are balanced in emotion, in spirit, in body, in mind, and they will then transform the world.
And in a day-to-day basis, since, like, for example, myself is programmed differently compared to them.
Well, you need to reprogram yourself.
So how will I raise them on a day-to-day basis?
Use your imagination. Follow your own excitement. You understand why it's important to do that, yes?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
And if you follow your own excitement and act on it every moment that you can,
with no insistence on the outcome to the best of your ability, you will open up the kit of excitement for yourself that supports you, that is the driving engine, that is the organizing principle, that is the path of least resistance, that is the connection to all other forms of excitement, that is the reflective mirror that shows you what's out of alignment with excitement within you so you can bring it back into alignment. And when you do that for yourself, you will be the vibrational state that will allow your imagination to download the inspiration, ideas, techniques, rituals, motivations that you need to pass along to them.
For starting to really implementing your teachings in our education, in our schools and universities and...
The basic metaphysical principles that we talk about are not ours. We deliver them in a specific way, yes. But the idea is that this is a basic understanding of metaphysics, a basic understanding of how existence is structured and how it works. The timing for introducing the ideas that we're talking about into your educational system, now! Why wait?
Great, thanks.
The idea is to create more interactivity for the children so that they learn by actually doing, yes? Instead of just being talked at. To allow the lessons to be adapted to what excites each child instead of attempting to adapt their excitement into the lesson. Yes?
Yes.
Teaching them the consequences of their actions and the consequences of their choices in a safe, protected environment so that they can learn the basic tools of how to manifest reality in a way that allows them to become experts at it by the time they're adults. Yes?
Yes.
These are the tools and techniques of education. So, why wait?
Okay.
Teach them that they are self-empowered. Teach them that they are as powerful as they need to be already to manifest whatever it is that is truly relevant for them in their lives in a joyful, creative, loving way without having to hurt themselves or anyone else in order to get what they need. Teach them that they are that powerful.
Some of them find it interesting how often we eat.
Yes.
And yeah, and my toddler is the same way. I mean, it's very difficult to get him to sit down at the table and eat.
Yes.
But if he doesn't eat, he gets hungry, and that can lead to other challenges. So my question is there a better way to handle meal time with young children?
Well, the idea, first and foremost, is that many of them may require a lighter diet in terms of what it is they eat. You can explore with the child what it is they may be excited or attracted to at certain times when they are hungry. The idea can be worked through in discussions, in conversations. And you can use your creative imagination to, shall we say, describe the different foods that probably are beneficial for them in ways that get them excited about them. You can make up stories about them in terms of what their abilities are, what they will give to the body, what they will allow the child to experience if they incorporate those substances in their body. Remember, the idea of teaching a child requires the parent and the teacher to be as creative and imaginative as a child in coming up with how to have a conversation that really gives the child an understanding from a different perspective about what certain foods will do for the child to help them thrive and sustain their viability in physical reality. So it's up to you to be creative with the stories about what the different foods will do.
More of a guidance or an example when I see children that they are so exciting playing those violent games or watching even the Disney Channel where sometimes it doesn't seem to be very
Turn
positive.
the issue around and start rewarding them for creating and constructing positive community rather than destruction. They are now being rewarded for creating destruction. Reward them for creating construction. Remind them that if they really wish to express power, true power is in creating. It takes no power to destroy.
Okay.
You can have a stack of blocks. It takes more power to build the stack than it does to push it over. You understand?
Yes.
So you can begin to teach them and reinvent games that entrain them to understand that they will be more rewarded and more expansive in their abilities
by being rewarded for creating and building connection and community than by destroying and disassembling.
If you have a situation as parent that your children is maybe have troubles and they run into many troubles, but you can't help them because they don't listen to you, like teenagers,
All right. Again, first of all, you're talking about a situation that is the result of a buildup of all sorts of belief systems for many years.
Okay.
The idea in general is to understand them by understanding how things work, so that you give them a safe space in which to experience the consequences of the choices that they make, so they can learn what those consequences are without really experiencing them too strongly. And you create interactivity in your imagination with them to allow them to understand they are as powerful already as they need to be to attract whatever they need in life without having to hurt themselves or anyone else in the process to do that. And you allow yourself to have the imagination as a parent and a teacher to design the lesson that you believe they need to learn in a way that adapts to their excitement instead of trying to force their excitement to adapt to the lesson. Do you understand? Then they will want to learn. Then they will want to understand how to make choices in a positive and constructive way. But for years and years, your planet and your teaching system has taught them things that don't allow them to understand their connection to source, their self-empowerment, their freedom to choose, the consequences of choices, or the idea that they can live their excitement and learn everything they need to learn through the auspices of their excitement instead of dampening their excitement to fit into a mold.
So if your children hang out with kids that use drugs or something, you just kind of let them?
It's the result of belief in disempowerment.
Okay.
Because remember, addiction of any kind or attraction to addiction of any kind in the negative sense is because you feel there is something missing within you that you are trying to either fill with something that never will fill it or dull the sensation that you're missing something so that you don't have to pay attention to it. Because that's a scary place, and that's what a lot of your teenagers feel. And they don't understand what it is because they've never been taught how to connect to their own self-empowered connection.
So how do we help them?
You, as the parent and the teachers, have to have an understanding of how this works, as we've explained it, and you have to have the ability to create, with your imagination, dialogues and situations and circumstances for them that allow them to practice making choices and experiencing or understanding what those consequences are in a way that is safe for them before they actually do that out in what you call the real world. But you have to create those things for them as the parents and the teachers.
But if they don't listen to you?
Not now, no. But you have to be clever enough to figure a way around that, and one of the ways is what we suggest. You have to understand what excites them, and you have to speak to them in their own language of excitement so that you are clever enough to adapt the lesson to their excitement. They may not even know what you're doing that, but you have to be the one that's imaginative and clever enough to know how to do it.
Can we talk to them in the sleep or, like...
That's what, well, now see, you came up with that interesting imagination idea. Talk to them in their sleep. What's wrong with that? That came from your imagination.
Okay. Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you. And by the way, don't forget the unconditional love.
Does that mean children have limiting beliefs and that's why they're abused? Or is there a different reason? Was it a choice by the soul to incarnate, to have particular experiences? Because how can a child who is still natural, still in touch with nature, have such negative belief systems?
Well, first of all, there cannot be one general answer for this because it depends upon the particular person and soul and the theme they are exploring. So there can be many reasons for those kinds of experiences. One reason can be that a soul might actually choose to have that experience because it might add to the overall collective experience of abuse and help it reach a point where your society will finally agree that such a thing should never happen again. So a soul might add to the pile of experiences knowing that by doing so, you might reach a tipping point sooner that would allow your society to change and not have those experiences from that point forward. Other children might simply pick upon the belief systems of their parents and thus harbor limiting beliefs that come from their parents because they may need to use those limiting beliefs to push against in order to transform negative experiences in their lives into more positive ones by having chosen things to push against to propel them in a more positive direction. So again, you have to kind of take it on a case-by-case, person-by-person, child-by-child basis as to why they might be experiencing certain things either of their choosing or from the belief systems that might be ensconced in their unconscious mind that they may have picked up from parents or society or schooling or friends that demonstrate that these things exist in your society to give you an opportunity to see them more clearly and to decide what to do about changing those experiences on your planet in the future.
No.
Okay.
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that you create a sense of continuity to this concept called the past, and therefore you can use it in a variety of ways if you wish to help you move forward. That's viable. At the same time, it doesn't really exist. You have been taught to think that it does because of your space-time perspective and this idea called continuity that makes you think there is an actual linear connection between the past and the present, when there really isn't. You are creating your past from the present, not the other way around. So when you become a new person, every moment that you change anything about yourself, you're a new person. And that means you actually at that moment have a new past. The past you had to have had to make sense in space and time of how you became the person you now are. So the idea is that you're not actually creating things or holding on to things from the past, in a sense, technically speaking. But what you're doing every moment that you redefine yourself is you are including that concept over and over and over again, that something came from your childhood. But it didn't necessarily come from your childhood anymore because you have been a new person and you're creating a new past that didn't necessarily have the experience you're talking about. So you don't have to keep connecting to it. Now, for some people on your planet, that's a lot to wrap their minds around, and they may not be able to do it that way. So there are other techniques, many other permission slips you can use, even using the idea that there is something that happened in childhood that is still causing trauma. Fine. You can go that route if you want, and there are many techniques to help you through it. But I'm just simply telling you mechanically what's actually happening is there's no such thing.
What is the secret to a long-lasting marriage?
Communication, clear communication, support, and allowing each being in the relationship to see reflections that will allow them to become more of who they truly are. Not any imposition of suppositions or insistences or assumptions about what they should be, but to allow them to become more of who they truly are. And that happens through support and clear communication, investigation of deep belief systems, why people choose to do what they choose to do, to understand each other and support each other in ways that allow each of the people in the relationship, again, as we said, to become more of who they truly are, to find their self-empowerment.
Would you say that patience might have something to do with it?
No patience is required. The only reason you require patience is because you're being impatient, because you think you know better than someone else, and they're not doing what you want them to do.
Thank you.
I want to say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? Once again, we take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for allowing this transmission to occur in this manner and on this day of your time. Once again, each and every time, your civilization allows for this transmission to occur, this kind of connection to be formed. It affords our civilization and many other civilizations an opportunity to experience, through this linkage, more facets, more perspectives of the universe through each and every one of your perspectives. And this expands our understanding of all the different ways that creation can manifest itself. And so we thank you for this gift. We would like to begin this transmission, this day of your time, with the following idea that we will call the end of times, the in-between time, and the beginning of times. It is a long title, I know, but make the best of it. We would like to extend to you now, in this concept, that we are perceiving, from our point of view, with our senses, that there is a template grinding into position like a large, slowly turning gear, but that this template is almost in position. The balls have almost fallen into all the slots. All the setups of your collective consciousness are almost in place to allow there to be the opening of the floodgates of information, the continued acceleration of happenstance, the continued revelation of everyone's position, where they stand, what they stand for, who they are, who they hold themselves to be, in your present year, in your next year, and the year after that. The last times prior to your demarcation year of what you call your 2001, in these last moments, as this template moves into its final position and all things fall into place, there will be an acceleration of revelation of information as many things become more clear and as it becomes less and less possible for ideas and information to be withheld and kept secret. Now then will be the time that each and every one of you must, if you are willing, take firm grasp, firm hold of your idea, of yourself, your identity, of your ideal of who and what you are, and pay attention to your own estimation of how much in alignment or not you are to your ideal self. For in these last few moments, as the template grinds into position, into final position, before the beginning of times, in this middle time, this brief middle time of the next 2.5 of your orbits, 2.5 of your years, this will be all the time allowed, in a sense, by your collective consciousness for all the components, that is, each and every one of you, components of the collective, all the time you have allowed yourselves to come to terms, to come to understanding, not in the sense of ultimate completion in this life, but in the sense of knowing, in the sense of choosing, in the sense of determining, in the sense of making a decision about who you are, moving forward with that in all the ways that you can with regard to your behavior and your actions. For as the template grinds into position, it will not leave many cracks to slip through. In fact, it will leave none. And if you do not find yourself, and we do not say this to be alarmist, but if you do not find yourself in total surrender of who you are, in letting go and being who you are created to be, within this next 2.5 years, you may find a great deal of difficulty finding any crack to slip through, any opening in the doorway to cross to the other side over the threshold. Now is the last moment of limbo that you have. Now is the last moment of neutrality that you have to make up your mind as to who you are and to behave as such, to act as such, to make a commitment as such to yourself, and to realize, finally, and more fully, that there is no difference between what you call your true will and that which you term the will of God. That when you become your true self, what you have called the will of God and your own true will be synonymous, one and the same, no conflict, no contradiction, no dichotomy, but the awakening to the recognition that you are all aspects of the infinite, and the experience of that recognition will begin to fully bloom and take its place in your society in a practical, effective, experiential way. Please remember that all this talk about the template grinding into position, all this talk about this limbo time, this neutral time, all this talk about the end of times, the end of a cycle, and the beginning of times, the beginning of a new cycle, these are not mere metaphors. This is a description of energy and consciousness in motion, seeking and finding its place, and becoming anchored steadfastly into its new slot, its new formation, its new momentum, its new acceleration, and allowing yourself to know your place within it, to find your place within it, so that you will know you fit, so that you will know you belong, so that you will be able to experience the effortless belonging rather than the struggle you have experienced for generations. Now, in what you call your new timing, in the new revelations of information, if you wish to term it your new millennia, then will be seen in short order the time, space, reality, illusion for what it is. And if you then will allow yourself to know more concretely, more fully, more quickly, to know who you are, what you are, make a determination, and live according to that, then when the time, space, illusion begins to break down and fade away, you will then be capable of being left with that which is the only thing that exists, and that is yourself, your true, core, natural self. And that will be enough, because you will see and you will begin to experience that that has always been what has filled your entire reality, and all the illusion of the vastness of space and time has always been filled by you, yourself, your idea of yourself, your belief of yourself, your notion of yourself, your notion of reality. Time to bring the notion back home, inside, within, instead of out there. Time, in many ways, to break the mirror and let the glass shatter and fall away, so that any and all reflections will be inner reflections, will be inner knowingness, will be insight into yourself, so that any and all experiences will add to the knowledge of who and what you are, and will no longer be projected outward onto others, projected outward onto outer reality, which keeps it separate from yourself. All experience is happening within you. There is no outside, except as you create there to seem to be. Now is the time, this limbo time, for you to come to terms with the idea that there is no outside, that it all takes place inside you, within your consciousness, within one point, here and now, the eternal creative moment. Because that's all there is, all there ever has been, and all there ever will be. And this will be the awakening of the Christ consciousness, the Buddha nature, the Krishna spirit, whatever you wish to term it, For that will be the time when names do not matter, but the experience of yourself will be the only thing that matters. And as we have said, the experience of yourself will be seen and felt to be synonymous with the experience of the One, in all the ways that that can manifest in purer form, with more open eyes, more awareness in consciousness, and less illusion, and less filters. For these no longer serve you. For it is past time, and it is time to put away those toys. We thank you now for allowing us to share this perspective with you, and we remind you that as we shared these ideas, not only were your ears paying attention, but all the cells of your body were letting the information in on different levels, and it is within you, and always has been. And now is the time to allow it to wake up and become lucid in your own dream of life. Become not just the idea of lucid dreamers, but lucid livers.
What about the people like our family that are not trying to get in touch with who they are? What's going to happen with people that are less aware?
Everyone and every being will always be on their own path and will ultimately determine for themselves when and where they shall recognize who and what they are and their relationship to the infinite. To ask what is going to happen is really an open-ended question, for time is infinite, beings are infinite and eternal, and you need not worry that an individual in any given lifetime may or may not see this or that or know themselves, for it is always offered unto everyone within creation the opportunity to know the self at any time of choosing. Let go of your worry. Let go of your attachment to that question. It doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve them. For it only compounds separation when you ask it. Do you follow? Cherry.
Yes.
Okay. So, let's say you regret an experience out of your past. Oh, not regret.
Say that again.
You had a sexual experience when you were a kid.
Yes.
That you regret.
All right.
And because of that,
yes.
I'm still not all the way pure.
All right. So let me ask you this question. Are you that kid now?
No.
So why are you continuing to recreate that experience in your present?
I think it's society.
Why are you choosing to continue to recreate that experience in your present if you're not that person anymore? Did you learn from it? Did you learn from that experience that you preferred something different?
I'm not sure that I all the way believe that I'm not that kid, because society tells us.
We'll get to that in a moment.
Yes.
We'll get to that in a moment. Answer this question first. Did you learn something from that experience that allowed you to realize that you prefer something different? Yes or no?
Yeah.
All right. So are you applying that new knowledge in your life now? What you learned, are you behaving in a different way?
Am I behaving in a different way? Yes.
All right. So doesn't the new behavior supersede what happened in the past?
What does supersede mean?
Take the place of. Doesn't it replace what happened in the past because you have learned from it and are now applying a new behavior? Doesn't that make you a different person?
I want to say yes.
Why do you want to say yes?
Because
it feels better, doesn't it?
It does feel better.
Then why not believe it, regardless of what society says? Why not believe you are a different person now?
Because society makes me feel wrong.
Because society says what?
They make me feel wrong. or they make me feel?
They don't make you feel anything. They may suggest how you could make yourself feel, but if you don't prefer to feel that way, why are you agreeing with them? Because you're the one making yourself feel what you're feeling. No one else can make you feel anything.
That's right. So
I know.
I just practice. So is there a way to get there? Is it probably by following my highest excitement that eventually...
The formula will help.
Okay.
But you also have to really understand how things work, what the structure of existence is like. Everything exists here and now.
Mm-hmm.
You understand that time is an illusion?
Yes.
Even your scientists understand this now. Yes? It's not real. It's a side effect. Time is a side effect of your consciousness shifting through billions of parallel reality moments every second. So if everything exists here and now, the only way you can experience what appears to be different moments is by actually shifting your focus within the now to a different now, which means you're a different person. Because everything that changes in the now changes everything in the now. It's not the same reality from one moment to the next. Literally. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the experience of time. So the idea is that you literally are a different person when you change anything about yourself, and you're becoming a different person billions of times a second. So it's not about the idea of learning how to change. It's about the idea of realizing that you're constantly changing and constantly a different person in a different reality, in a different version of Earth, moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to moment. And you get to say what you are, what person you are, how you define yourself every single moment. So you get to choose. As I just said, your greatest power is the freedom to choose who you prefer to be. And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks you should be. They're not living your life. They're not your reality. You are your own universe. So be who you prefer to be. Define yourself as you prefer to. Behave as you prefer to, knowing that it's just as real as anything else you've ever done, because that wasn't actually you. You have to understand that everything exists at the same time, which means every single moment is actually about a different person. So even though you might have this illusion of continuity, that younger person was you, it isn't you. It's a different person. You're a different person than that you. It's not the same you. It may look like you may be creating a continuity that makes it seem like there's a continuous stream between that younger you and this particular you, but there isn't. That's an illusion. That's a different person. It's not you. You've changed, and therefore you're a different person, literally. Yes?
Yes.
That's how it works. So be the person you know you are now, instead of recreating the idea that you are still a person you've never been. You've never been that person. Now that you are defining yourself in this way, that definition literally makes you a completely different person who has never been that other person. This is what we call the 13th step. This is the idea of the true understanding that every change is total change and that things are changing, as I said, billions of times per second. I'll use the analogy that people on your planet often use of what you call addiction. When you see people suddenly stop doing addicting behavior, some kind of miraculous shift where one day they are having that behavior and the next day they are not, it's not because they actually stopped doing it. It's because the person they've become never did it. They have no history of doing it, and that's why it's so easy for them to not have any urges about the idea that they used to do it, is because they never did. They're not the same person, literally, anymore, and never have been that person. The illusion of continuity is broken. That's how you allow yourself to know you're changing, truly changing, into different people every moment. Let go of the illusion of continuity that anchors you to a past you never had, because everything is created from the present, including the past.
So my past is even different now.
Yes.
Was okay.
That's the idea. Now, it's going to seem to be. Whatever you create yourself to be is going to come with whatever past you still believe is relevant to you. But as you change the relevant definition, you're going to create a past that makes sense for the person you are now, because that's how it works in space-time. If you change yourself differently enough, you have to create a past that makes it make sense in space-time as to how you became the person you are now, which means you had to have had a different past than you had before in order to be the person you are now. Because everything is created from the present. There's no such thing as the past. It's an illusion. It's just another parallel present reality that you can decide to experience or not. So break the continuity and realize that every single moment that you become a different person, you have a different past. It may seem like it's always been the past, but that's just what has to come with it in order for you to have a sense of continuity in space-time reality.
Okay.
Many of you don't even know how many pasts you've experienced. Even collectively, as we have often given examples, what you consider to be your history as a collective right now may not necessarily have been your history 5 minutes ago. But it will seem to have always been your history. Oh yes, everyone knows that in XBC this... You don't know that that's the way it was 5 minutes ago. It might have been completely different 5 minutes ago, but it's going to seem like it's always been that way when you create a new past.
Okay.
Is this helping?
Yeah, this is helping.
All right.
I just want to share my experience of the weekend because I think it's helpful, and there comes a question with it.
Yes.
The last days, just being in the room.
Yes.
I asked the question the first day, but just being in the room, I felt like my vibration was shifting on a level.
Yes, because you are picking up on the frequency that we give off through the channel's body, and you're willing to match the frequency that's a higher frequency representation of yourself.
And I also think because I allowed it this time
yes.
too, because you taught us to see everything as a positive in the
yes.
formula. Yeah.
And also remember what we have called the AAA formula. On your culture, you have the synchronous convenience of having something called AAA, which you often use to rescue you when your vehicle breaks down. So the idea is we're suggesting a different AAA formula when you feel that your vehicle, yourself, has broken down and you feel the need to be rescued. Allow yourself to remember this AAA formula. A, acknowledge what you have, not what you don't have. B, appreciate what you have. And number 3, allow what needs to happen next to happen. Acknowledge, appreciate, allow. That's all you need to bring yourself back to center. Acknowledge what you have, not what you don't have. Appreciate what you have, and allow what needs to happen next to happen.
Is this part of the excitement formula too, or?
It is a subset of it. It's a permission slip designed based on it.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, in the excitement formula, what really helped me to increase my vibration is the I feel like I always followed my excitement.
Well, not always.
Not always, but recently I've been really going for it and not doing the not having the insistence.
Yes.
But I feel like where always when something happened that I didn't like so much, preferred.
Is it truly a recognition of neutral non-preference, or is it a fear reaction? You have to have the ability to discern that honestly within yourself too.
It might have been a fear reaction, but I cleared that out by giving it the possibility that it's giving it a positive meaning.
It doesn't mean that you say that what is negative is positive. It means you stay in a positive state so that you can recognize how to use what is negative in a positive way.
How do you stay in a positive state if you see something?
Did we not explain that before? What other choice are you giving yourself? Why would you leave the positive state? What reasons are you creating to leave it?
It's just a natural reaction of
It is not a natural reaction. It is a learned reaction.
So how do I relearn?
By following the formula and keep practicing it until it becomes not second nature, first nature.
So by following the formula, it will automatically...
Keep doing it, just like anything. If you want to learn to play an instrument, what do? You keep practicing. So just keep doing it. Every chance you get, remind yourself to go back into that state.
Okay.
That's it. All you have to do.
I have a question about the formula.
Yes.
And I'll make it as an example because I think it's easier. This morning, so my highest excitement today clearly was coming here.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be here.
Exactly. But I realized there's a difference in excitements. So let's say my highest excitement is here, but there's a time span from me waking up to me getting here.
So
why
can't that be exciting too?
That can. I'm just asking because when I wake up, in between those little moments, should I still ask?
Every moment can be as exciting as the next. It doesn't matter what it is you're doing. Do it in the way that's most exciting for you. Even the simple things. Getting out of bed, getting dressed. Do it in the way that's most exciting for you so that you are allowing those moments to be what they can be. Don't diminish them. Don't devalue them.
No, of course, yeah. So on the way to my highest...
No. It's not on the way. Every moment is part of your excitement if you allow it to be and act as if it is and do it in the way that is most exciting. You're making a difference between those moments and other moments by saying, I'm on the way to my excitement. No, every moment.
Because on some points, it doesn't feel like I know what my next highest excitement is.
You don't have to know. It's very simple, very simple. You don't have to know the ultimate. Just take it a step at a time. If you want to, again, practice this, do it in exactly the way I just suggested. When you wake up in the most exciting way you can. What do you want around you when you wake up? Do you want flowers in your bedroom? Do you want a certain scent in your bedroom? Do you want a certain chime on your alarm if you use that? Do you want to wake up to music? Wake up in the most exciting way you can. If you want to stay in bed for a few minutes and recount your dreams, and that's more exciting, do it. When you finally decide that you wish to be excited about rising from your bed, do it in the most exciting way you can. Whether it's a soft, calm swinging of your legs over the side, planting your feet in those wonderful, cozy slippers, or jumping and leaping out of bed, fully naked, into the bedroom. Do it in the way that's most exciting for you. And then every moment will feel fulfilling, and it's not that you will be ignoring them and invalidating them by saying that they're nothing more than a way on the way to your excitement. This is what we're talking about. Every moment.
So make every moment a way.
Use your imagination.
Is it good to ask the question every moment, or does it make you just confused?
If that excites you, but once you practice it and get used to doing your life that way, you won't have to keep asking the question. You will know what to do because you'll know yourself. Remember, it comes down to that ancient phrase, know thyself. So when you know who you are, you will start doing the things in the way that you would do them. That will always be the most exciting way you can do it, because why would you do those things any other way? If you are living your excitement, then do everything in your life in the most exciting way you can. Everything. Don't leave anything out. Why miss a moment? Why miss that precious, beautiful, exciting moment as I described of slipping your toes into those cozy slippers? Oh, that's ecstasy in that moment. Why miss out on that? Because you're in such a hurry to get somewhere more exciting. Don't rush ahead. What's your hurry? You are an infinite, eternal being. What's your hurry? Enjoy every moment.
Okay.
All right, does that help?
That helps.
All right. I will take that as okay.
We thank you, each and every one of you individually, all of you together collectively, for the co-creation of this interaction. Once again, each and every time your civilization interacts with our civilization in this way, it creates a link, a bridge, and a third reality in which we can, one day, interact more and more closely, more and more immediately. So we thank you for the co-creation of this new paradigm, this new reality in which we can all together learn to play. This day of your time, this transmission will begin with a discussion of imagination. Now we have talked about imagination many times. We would like to take the concept a little bit further this day of your time. We have reminded you of the synchronicity in many of the words that exist in various languages on your planet. We understand the channel's language is English, and in this context, we point out again, as many of you are already familiar with, the synchronicity of the word imagination. Magi, nation. A nation of magicians is what you are. And you can use your imagination to create the kind of nation, the kind of world that you prefer. Imagination is an extremely powerful tool, and we will discuss in what ways this is so, and how you can apply your imagination in very powerful ways to allow and to create the kinds of changes that you would prefer to represent within your lives, individually, and again, within your lives, collectively, globally. And as you thus then move out into the cosmos, into the stars, and join with us eventually, you will find imagination is going to play a very key role in your ability to do that. So let us begin. We will remind you, first of all, that we have talked about the idea that imagination is the conduit between your higher mind and your physical mind. It is the pipeline through which your higher mind communicates with you, and through which, in receiving that communication, you can then, as physical beings, as physical personalities, apply the information, the imagination that comes from higher mind, the communication, into your physical lives, to alter them, to change them in ways that are more reflective of your passion, your excitement, your joy, your preference, or not. It is up to you to use this positively or negatively. It is up to you. But imagination is the key to allow an alignment to occur. And if you are willing to use your imagination without filtering the communication from your higher mind through belief systems that contain fear, then you will find that the outcome can always be a positive one, and you can always amplify and magnify that in any direction, in any area of your lives, whatsoever, no matter what. Higher mind, again, I remind you, has the far-seeing point of view. It stands on the mountaintop. It can see all the pathways you could possibly take in life, and it guides you toward the path of least resistance, the path that is most truly you. As we have said many times, the vibration of excitement, the vibration of passion is what functions like the compass needle. It is your magnetic north to your true self. By following your passion, by following your excitement, by pointing the needle in that direction and that direction only, you will always be completely, purely, squarely on the path that is most truly you, your core, true, natural self. Your imagination is the conduit through which your higher mind can guide you in this very easily, if you allow it to be effortless, which you can. Physical mind, then,
chooses in physical reality various ideas of how to apply these ideas coming from the higher mind in ways that are also pleasing to the physical being that you are, the physical personality that you are, and you learn to work in concert as a whole being, as a whole person with the higher mind. For if the physical mind thinks that it must take on the job of figuring everything out, how is this going to happen? How can I make this happen? How can I bring everything together to get this to happen? If the physical mind thinks that it must be the only one doing that job, it is going to be burdened, it is going to be weighed down, it is going to be tired. Because the physical mind is not designed to know how things will happen. The physical mind is only designed to know how things have happened. The idea is thus then to trust the higher mind to let you know that if the higher mind is sending you information that pushes you in the direction of your passion and you trust that, what the higher mind is telling you is that by following your passion, the how will be taken care of, because the higher mind can see how you're going to get there, and the translation of that how through the imagination is the physical sensation of excitement, joy, passion, and love. That's how the higher mind speaks to the physical mind through the conduit of imagination, with those feelings, those vibrations, those energies, those pictures. So the physical mind can learn to relax and not feel it has to carry all the weight of the world on its shoulders for figuring out exactly how everything's going to come into manifestation in its life. You can allow the higher mind to guide you in that, and you can relax and ride the wave of the energy that the higher mind sends through the imagination and allow things to unfold in a synchronous manner, in an effortless, joyful, creative, loving manner. And thus then find yourself flowing through life. And even if the path that it leads you down may seem to be going left, going right, going here, going there, going where you least expected it to go, that is cause for celebration. Because as we say in our world, anytime something unexpected comes up, you want to say congratulations. Now you know you're really following your joy and allowing your life to unfold synchronously in front of you without it being so planned out, so rigidized, so insisting that it must be one way or another. Because if you really are open to the idea of what your higher mind can do through your imagination, it will almost always bring you something that is even more exciting than the physical mind was capable of actually picturing. So when you insist that it must be a certain way, you're actually limiting the ways in which it could actually come to you that might even be more exciting than you are actually capable of imagining. But imagination can act as the guide, the initial visualization mechanism to at least give you a bearing, give you a heading. And you can use that picture as a symbol to represent the energy, to symbolize the energy of the reality that is representative of your highest joy, of who you wish to be. But if you rigidize that picture and insist that it must turn out that way, then you are actually fighting against the flow of your higher mind. If you relax that it could come to you in another way and that what you're picturing is just a representation of that reality, then the energy can flow and you may find yourself winding up in a situation that is even more wildly fantastic than you were at first capable of picturing. Now, here is something else that is very important to understand about what imagination is. First of all, of course, understand it is a state of being. And any state of being causes certain kinds of states to exist in the neurology of your brain. When you are in an imaginative, creative state, your brain, the neurology, the way the electrical pathways flow will be different than any other state. Here is something that is important to understand. When you are born in physical reality, the first moment that you crystallize, shall we say, your spirit into the physical matrix, it crystallizes a kind of pattern within you that represents the idea of your soul agreement, your relationship to your higher self at that moment. What happens to it from there on will depend upon a lot of things, including input from your parents, society, so on and so forth. But that core agreement, that core relationship will always exist. So when you go through life and you've lived several years, and maybe you find yourself becoming in your older age a little bit confused, a little bit forgetful of where you're going, why you came here, so on and so forth, looking for your joy, looking for your passion. Going into the state where you allow yourself to communicate with higher mind through your imagination will actually always bring you back to your 0 moment agreement of when you were born. It will actually restructure the neurological pathways of the brain back to that childlike moment where anything is possible. That's what's key to understand about the function of imagination in your physical reality. It's your reset button. So when you find yourself feeling lost, feeling confused, feeling at odds, go into your imagination. Open up the conduit of communion between your physical mind and higher mind and push the reset button. Go back to the 0 point. Let the neurological pathways realign. And then in that state, open up to the infinite possibilities and the choices you have made. And go forward from there afresh, anew, reinvigorated as a new persona. Because again, remember. When you make any change, you have made a total change. And that is what imagination allows you to do. Realign yourself in such a way in bringing yourself back to a kind of 0 point that you can then step out from there on any path you really so desire. That is representative of your highest passion. And know that when you do so, you really have cleaned the slate. And anything that may have seemed to be an issue, that was an obstacle or a complication in your life formerly, at that moment of zeroing yourself out, is actually no longer there. Now, you can co-create it again. You can say, oh, it's still there. I still have to get over this. I still have to deal with this. You can do that. If that's your process, that's fine. I am not telling you how to live your life. If you want to include complications and misery in your life, please go ahead. I will not stop you, because if that's what gives you, quote unquote, joy, then by all means go ahead and involve yourself in that idea of struggle. If that's your process, love it. And then you'll get the most out of it. What I am simply saying is you do not have to do that. You actually have a choice. And in that moment that you zero yourself out with your imagination and allow your neurology to realign, recrystallize back to that first moment, that first agreement, when you were a child, a newborn child, and step forward in that state of being, then all bets are off, as you say. You really have lost your history. You really only live in the present in that moment. And what you do from that moment forward is up to you. And it will be, it can be your reality completely, wholly, totally. Now, we have talked about the idea of imagination in context to the concept of all that is. The universe, if you will, the multiverse, creation in totality. Whatever you wish to label it, it doesn't matter. And then we spoke about the idea of understanding this. You cannot imagine non-existence. Go ahead, I'll give you a minute, try it out. There, you see? Couldn't do it. Because the point is that even if you could, by definition, imagining non-existence would be non-experiential. Therefore, how would you know you had done it? You would have no experience of it. And in having no experience of it, in that context, it isn't relevant. It doesn't exist. Therefore, conversely, anything, everything that you can imagine is somewhere, somewhen, somehow a reality, a real reality. It may not necessarily be relevant to the reality you are creating on Earth, but it is nevertheless real in some parallel dimension, some other reality, whatever you wish to label it. Whatever you imagine is also happening simultaneously with the reality that you are actually physically experiencing. So if in your imagination you do imagine you have 3 arms, wings, 4 eyes, and are purple, there is a reality where such a being, such a version of your soul actually does exist. It may not ever cross paths with you on Earth. You may never know that until you go to higher planes where you can see more of your soul's creation, and then you will go, oh yeah, there I am. Doing that thing in that universe with that kind of a form for that kind of a reason, because that's a symbol and a reflection of that kind of path and that kind of an experience. So anything you imagine is, in fact, tapping into some other simultaneously coexistent real reality. Yes, really, really real. Just as real as you feel your physical reality is for you. Now, the idea, of course, is one of discernment. It is real, but is it relevant to your reality? The idea of following your joy, following your passion, it's not to say you cannot create that here, but it is highly improbable, not impossible, but highly improbable based on the agreement you made to participate in the co-created mass consensus reality of Earth at this point in space-time, as you have created it. Strange things can happen on your planet, and strange things have and always will. And some of them are the confluence of someone actually fully letting go of any assumptions and expectations about what this reality has to be, opening the door a little wider than normal, and perhaps suddenly, there you go, something pops in that may not normally be relevant to your reality, and suddenly a legend is born, a myth is born. Oh, did you know there was such a creature, such a thing, such a happening? Well, those things do happen. They may pop in, they may pop out, and never be seen again. That doesn't mean they weren't real at that moment. It may have simply been only, in a sense, I'll put it this way, a momentary defocusing, a momentary relaxing of your agreement, but it also may be part of your agreement in the sense of presenting those kinds of ideas and realities to yourself so that you can play off them, reflect off them, and see how it might apply to some aspect of your agreement here in this reality. Nothing happens by accident. It can all be played off of. It's all an orchestration. All we are simply saying is, it's also a matter of discernment as to what works for you. And if you use your imagination in this way and apply these things in a manner that will work for you based on your understanding of your true self and the agreement that you made to be your true self in this particular modality, in this particular reality, then you can stay aligned and harmonious with your higher self and understand what it is you can achieve in this reality. You have far fewer limitations in this reality than you think, even within the parameters of the limitations you have imposed upon yourself for what is possible in this reality, or at least what is probable. The idea is that anything that represents your true joy, anything that represents your true self, your true passion, is manifestable. Is manifestable. But it is also about you paying attention to what is actually representative of your passion and not representative of your anxiety that is simply being called your passion. It requires discernment on your part to know whether you're coming from fear or true joy, and not labeling things that are representative of your fear as excitement when they actually in fact are not, but also vice versa. Not labeling your joy as a fear when it actually is representative of your true path. Because many people on your planet will stay away from the thing that really excites them the most because they have put a label of fear on it, or society has taught them to do so. This again is where your imagination can, in a sense, come to the rescue. Go back to your 0 point, press your reset button, and go, wait a minute. Who am I at the core? Who do I imagine myself to really be? What kind of person am I passionate about being? What kind of life am I passionate about living? In your imagination, you can see all those things. And that's why I have said many, many times, what's important, whether it becomes literally manifest as you see it in your imagination or not, what's important for communication and harmonization between the physical mind and higher mind is that when you do get a picture in your imagination of who you prefer to be, what you prefer to be doing, where you prefer to be doing it, how you prefer to be doing it, when you see that, all you really have to do is mimic it, mirror it, act it out as best as you can on all levels of your life. All you have to do is be like that person in your mind's eye. Do things the way he or she would do it. And then when you start doing things the way he or she would do it, you will change your vibration to the vibration that is representative of that life. And when you shift your vibration to the representation of that life, you will start to synchronistically have that life. All the things that are representative of what that you would have will come in. So that's how to use your imagination as an actual tool, an actual application tool. The idea being that when you open up to your imagination, you reset yourself, take yourself back to 0. Then you create the picture that is you, that you prefer to be. Then you act like it. You behave like it. And then you have 1, 2, 3, the whole manifestation process right there. 1, 2, 3. Let yourself reset using your imagination. Let yourself create using your imagination. Let yourself act it out using your imagination. And your imagination, thus then used in the 1, 2, 3 way, will allow you to become the magician that you are, and you will become a nation of magi. Do you understand this? All right. Now, we will, as this transmission goes on, of course, investigate some of these concepts a little bit more deeply and a little bit more personally as you engage us in questions and discussions. And just the thing to keep in mind while this is going on is that no matter how physical this interaction seems, it's also all happening in your imagination. Because remember, physical reality isn't by itself real, except the experience of it is. Physical reality and everything you experience in your life is created, whether you know it or not, whether you're conscious of it or not, through what you imagine your reality to be. Your beliefs, obviously, your definitions obviously play a part. Your emotions play a part. Your thoughts play a part. But it is your beliefs, your emotions, and your thoughts that all wrap together into the triangle of your personality prism, and once it locks together in that triangle is the template of the imagination that activates your reality. That's the conduit through which you send those beliefs, definitions, emotions, and thoughts up to the realm of the higher self, where manifestation is immediate and instantaneous, and energy is all pervasive. Then the higher self, the higher mind, sends that thought, reflects it back through the imagination to the physical mind, and gives it to you in terms of the passion of your true self, so that by simply acting on it, by simply following your passion, the higher self lets you know, this is the wish you have sent me, translated into the language of the higher mind. Do it. Act it out. Act it out, and you will be speaking the language of the higher mind. You will be blended and harmonized as the physical mind and a higher mind into one holistic being, one holistic person that can then reflect that relationship into manifestations in an imagination reality that is being created by you. It is just a mirror. That's all it is. It's just reflecting back what you imagine it can be. That's all it is. So, as we said, with that in mind, we would invite you